Hey folks, twice in the last week I had two people say to me, I've never heard of that brand. And disparagingly, like it was a negative thing. And as you know from watching this channel, if you've watched a few of my videos, I introduce a lot of guitars that people haven't heard of. And a lot of times it's my first experience with the guitar when talking to you about them. I've shown you, for instance, recently a lot of these fellas made by Prodype, or Prodype, I don't know how you say it, but and these are great guitars, and I've sold them all. This is the last, I think I have two left. And they're really nice guitars, really well made, but I've had people come in here and turn their nose up at this because of what it says on the headstock, and then gone for a far lesser guitar because they recognized the brand on the headstock. We've talked about this before, but I think it's important to keep hammering the situation home. The worst guitar that I've worked on lately was a Fender. Yes, a Fender. It was poor. In fact, I couldn't get it to intonate properly. It was always a little bit out. The second worst guitar that I worked on, and Randy will vouch for this because he made a comment on a recent video, was a Martin X series, one of their budget series guitars. It wasn't a very good guitar at all. Some of these $100, $200 guitars on my rack were better than both those guitars. So you can't always rely on Fender you know, the top brands automatically being superior guitars. They're not. And again, it's a case-by-case situation, and you just sort of have to find somebody you trust to buy from if you're buying online, or somebody who does a setup like me, or go play the damn thing and get your own sound samples on it. You know, there are some unknown guitars that are disappointing that I don't dip back into the trough for. I'm not really one for disparaging brands, but I'll tell you what, it'll be a while before I buy a Rogue again. The last two I've set up were a nightmare, to be honest with you. I know they're cheap, but I can make good guitars out of cheap. You know, stuff that I buy really cheap, I can turn them into good guitars with a good setup with some fretwork. I've proven that to you with all the guitars I show you, but there's some that just haven't worked out very well. That Atoll I had, the black one, a couple of videos ago, wasn't very good. I wasn't very impressed with it. It had issues. I basically gave it away. You know, these Fevers that I've got here, they're okay. This is a sawtooth. Here's a case in point. One of you, sorry if I don't remember your name, told me you bought the red one of these, and it was the worst guitar you've ever played. It was awful. It had no tone. It was a mahogany one with a big thick lacquer, and it was just dead. This is the same series of guitar in the Sunburst, but with a spruce ply top and mahogany back, and it plays a lot better than what you're purporting the red one. So just in the same series of the same brand, you've got so much differentiation. These Fevers, they're all right. They're decent entry-level guitars. They're good for students. They look nice. They're a little bit heavy, to be honest with you, because of the maple ply on the top. Again, I've had these that play really well, and I've had them that don't play really well. So you can't really rely on consistency, even at the high end. I sold a couple of Blue Ridges last year. The difference in quality was amazing. I've had lots of Fenders that I wasn't that thrilled with. I've had Guilds that I wasn't thrilled with. I've had Epiphone Masterbuilts. Those are normally great guitars, but I've had one or two that were problematic. So the idea that there's certain brands always produce perfect guitars is largely a misnomer. It's not true, and you can find exceptions. I would say that the consistency improves in higher end guitars when you get into handmade, handcrafted, and into the world of luthiers and boutique guitars, because they put a lot of attention into the final details like setup and things like that. and they perfect them or try to perfect them. So you probably will find more consistency in those guitars. And some of the high-end guitars, even mid-range guitars, are very consistent. I can't remember a bad Siegel or a bad Art and Lutherie, but I've had a bad Norman, and they're made by a Godin as well. So you know, just some of the myths that guitar players tend to peddle around, I find them to be spurious at best. I don't find that working with guitars every day and setting up guitars every day and playing hundreds of guitars a year backs up a lot of these claims. You know, I've had some tremendous guitars lately that are by brands I've never heard of. And hopefully I've given you some examples of that in some of the videos. And then I've had guitars that, you know, well-known brands that I'm very, very disappointed with. So I just want to put that out there. Hopefully it's helpful. And, next time I'll have something, a new instrument to show you, hopefully. I've got a few things cooking. So I'll be back then. All right. See you next time.